Okay, we're here on this Sabbath. All praises to Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya, which is the Most High in the name of Christ. All right, we'll start with the law. And I wanted to, instead of just reading the same law we read every week, just go into a few different laws that some might not know are laws within the Bible. I've had questions about tattoos in the past and different things, even earrings in the past. What is the law history of earrings? I think that's going to surprise a few people. All right? Now, we're not to say that certain laws, even through ignorance, we follow. But it's good for us to know the origin of these laws. All right? Also, while going through this earlier, the Most High actually showed something that's paramount, that's going to come out within the lesson. Why certain things are so. As far as they introduce certain things to us as fashion or what have you, knowing the true origin of it. Therefore, we will embrace certain practices. Okay, but to the fallen ones and to the elite and the powers, they understand the psychological impact and the servitude that comes with us accepting certain things in our being. So they'll roll it out to us as fashion. An example I can give you before we go into the lesson. Who's predominantly over the fashion world? Homosexuals. They're everywhere. All in the fashion world. They're makeup artists. They're the people that's doing your hair. They're designing the clothes. And through advertisement, it endears you to certain fashions without knowing that these fashions are the same fashions of Sodom and Gomorrah. They use some of the best fashions and the best materials, and some of the cuts and all that be very nice. But all in all, it's an agenda. Now, we're not saying what not to do as far as your personal lives and what you put on and things of that nature. You have to make a conscious decision on yourself, on whether or not you want to practice certain things. But all in all, know that anything you put on and the things that you do, the majority of things were not by choice. It was by gradual persuasion. And they made you feel that it was an independent thought so that you could protect these practices. So that you can feel that it was part of your being and it's what makes you unique from others. That's how they sell it to you. They have you own these things and make you believe it's you. A lesson that was done probably about a year ago was done on the fallen spirits and the importance of fasting. Notice how fasting, and we talked about it, one facet of the fasting was that spirits are insatiable. They have insatiable appetites. They're never satisfied. They'll have you eat, but yet, like it says in Enoch, they're never filled. So it leads people to the spirit of gluttony. They're thirsty, but they're never quenched. And it comes in every part of our physical being. So in the beginning, go back to the beginning when Adam and Eve ate of that fruit, which actually stimulated their five senses. It stimulated the physical. And it made them wise to know things according to the physical. Now, the spirits come in later through the fallen angels They come into the body now, and they exercise those senses that began in the garden. So they're insatiable with it. They live with you. They're in part of your quarters. They're part of your beings. And you start to believe that that's you. That's part of your being. That's your individualism. Some people do certain things that are just continuously, perpetually out of here. And they'll just write it off as saying, well, that's just how I am. You got to accept me. Like you have a person who will curse someone out or and always say, well, listen, that's just me. And they relish in that spirit when it's not them. People feel that you have to accept them a certain type of way. Well, that's just my character. That's not your character. Something is influencing us. And see, that's the importance of fasting, because with fasting, it separates you from a lot of these situations. Your desire, our desires drop. Our personal individualisms and the things we do as individuals lower. So I just wanted to go into this. We're going to read out of the law. We're going to read a few. And just so that we can go over some of the laws, and some laws in which a lot of us didn't even think there were laws. Let's start at Leviticus 19. Okay, how many verses is it here? All right, I've got 37 here. Okay, I guess we can do about five apiece. You can start off, lawyer, if you don't mind.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I the Most High your power am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Most High your power.
Let's examine that before you go to the next two. And the Most High said unto Moses, Speak unto the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, You shall be holy. That means true. For I, Ahia, is your power, am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Now let's examine that for a second. You shall fear every man, mother, and his father. I think we addressed this in a prior class. Why do the Most High drum home regularly to fear the mother and father?
So you don't fear your mother and father, you're not going to listen to the Most High.
Exactly. If you are disobedient to your parents, then you're going to be disobedient to your ultimate parent, the Most High. The mother and father teaches us obedience. So if we're not obedient to the mother and father, then we will not be obedient to the Most High. Right? That is the answer. Now also, when you notice in society separates the children from the mother and father. And have you honor government to the point where you can disrespect your parents and call government against your own parents. Total reverse of Scripture. In Scripture, if there was a disobedient child who did not follow the mother and father perpetually, even through chastisement, and you're supposed to chastise your children and beat them if necessary. All right? The Most High had a law in which, and we're going to go over that at another time, but he had a law that the mother and father could take the child at a certain age when it seems this child wasn't going to change. take him to a top of a mountain, and throw him off the mountain. That's it. Problem solved. No police, no government, no issue. You hear the child screaming on his way down, boom. They go and bury their child, they cry, they mourn him 7 days, and he's out of there. That was an example when they heard that child screaming. The other children in the areas, like, okay, let me get this thing together. We knew something was going to happen with the boy. Now the difference is, when we were a people, it was immediately eradicated. Now, society relished in that disobedient child. Because why? That's the child that you see in your neighborhood, and everyone, the older people are saying he's going to end up dead or in jail. Run around picking with people, pickpocketing people, stealing from people, taking people pocketbooks, robbing, stealing, doing all those things. And some of these kids who do this have good parents. But still, the parents try to tell them over and over again, and the child won't listen. There was an immediate resolve in the law for that. But in Satan's society, you need to keep that guy loose. You need to let him wreak havoc in society and go to jail and do all these things. And they will concentrate on him and make him a killer, do all these things and let him loose in society. This is what our society relishes. Right? And it says, and keep my Sabbaths. I am your God. That's plain and simple in the law. I don't know how today any people that are reading out of the Bibles justify Sunday worship, when all through the law it tells, the Most High told us coming out of Egypt, keep his Sabbaths. Keep his Sabbath. That was a law. That's just like honoring your mother and father. Right? You got 4 and 5, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Most High, your power.
Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. That's crystal clear. So there was no merchant store you can go to and find a Buddha statue. There was no place you can go to when we were a people that you could buy a cross or buy something molten or made as part of worship. Now, this is what the idolaters' excuses, they bring the excuses to you, the idolaters. They'll say, well, Moses wrapped a snake around a stick and made a phylactery. What was that? The people did not have to worship that. The people, you understand? That wasn't made as an idol for worship. But this is what the idolaters would use as a scriptural excuse for their images. They would say, well, what did Moses hold up? Wasn't that an image? No. Anyone who believed that the Most High sent Moses, they would look upon it and they was healed from the snakes and the scorpions that were killing our people in the wilderness. They wasn't worshiping the stick. They wasn't worshiping the serpent. That wasn't made as an idol. Okay? Other excuses they use. The Ark of the Covenant. That got 2 angels over it. No, yes it does. But nowhere did the Most High tell the children of Israel to go worship in front of the Ark of the Covenant. It wasn't made as an idol. It was a weapon also. It was a serious weapon in which no people could come against us as long as we had the Ark. And it was a facsimile of the Ark that's in heaven, where the mercy seat is, and the holy cherubs are before the Father, the 2 angels. So they made a facsimile of what was in heaven. Not to sit down. There's no law in the scriptures anywhere that tells the children of Israel to go into the temple and bow and worship to the Ark of the Covenant. But these are the excuses they use. So idolatry, which means if you're worshiping the Virgin Mary, if you're worshiping saints, if you have crosses in your house, if you have 6-pointed stars in your house as part of worship, any physical thing that you've attached to worship is an idol. Period. Anything. If you have what they would call a good luck charm, that's an idol. What's a charm? They were given by witches and warlocks with little spirits or jinns in them, and you make a wish and you keep them as good luck. They believe that there's spirits in these charms. So you have to be careful when buying jewelry, because you don't know what those rabbis are doing over some of those metals. You have to be careful. Finish reading.
Verse 5. And if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Most High, you shall offer it at your own will.
Okay, that's 5, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, do me a favor, Mark. Can you go from 6 through 10 for me?
Verse 6. It shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow, and if aught remain until the third day, it shall be burnt in the fire.
So offerings were actually eaten by those who were offering it to their God. It's like praying your food to your God. You're offering that. As you can see, these offerings of sacrifices are eaten. They're eaten. Right? Read.
And if it be eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable. It shall not be accepted.
And through a lot, believe it or not, a lot of brothers and sisters don't know this, leftovers was unlawful in our law. You cook enough to eat that day. Nothing is wasted. You cook enough to eat. And something just happened. I don't know what was going on, but all through my life, I just never liked leftovers. Something is in the refrigerator. I say I'm going to get it tomorrow, whatever the case is, and it should get thrown away. That's just the way it's been. But in the law, you're not supposed to have leftovers. You cook enough to eat for that day, and everyone knew what the sacrifices was about and the importance of it while eating it. Food was not just for consumption and protein and minerals, and no, food meant something. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. Therefore everyone that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, because he hath profaned the hallowed thing of the Most High, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
And that was starch. That was serious. Read. So instead of a blessing from the offering, you received a curse. Go ahead.
And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. And thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and stranger. I am the Most High your power.
Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the stranger. Which means if you had a vineyard or crops, it was against the law to put a gate around it and take everything and sell it for your own personal gain. Absolutely wrong. You reap the harvest from the inside, and the corners of your fields are given to the poor and strangers. Therefore, everyone, even those who can't afford your grain, can have the same food. See that? And that was righteous. I was mentioning yesterday, I was talking about the spirit of capitalism, which is totally evil. The system we have in place. Capitalism was actually put in place by the Romans, the Satanists, to undo the laws we're reading right now. Why? Because capitalism comes down to you striving as an individual. You striving as a family outside of everyone else, even if it means on the backs of others. And you can easily write off or excuse what you're doing by claiming that, well, this is just my job, or it's just the law. This is how I'm paid. That's how you justify it. Just like the people who might be spraying chemtrails back and forth. They're destroying and killing everyone. They know what's in that, and we're going to go into that later. But yet, it's my job. That's what capitalism does to you. You're getting paid for it, so it doesn't matter what it's doing to the people. You grow crops, they're your crops. You grow crops, they're your crops. They're not for the poor. You're not thinking about the law when your crops have grown. You put a gate around it and you sell it, and everything belongs to you. This is my money. This belongs to me. That's what capitalism does. It have everyone think of themselves and not on others. Right? Go ahead. We had 11 through 15, right? Go ahead, Rav Malak, if you don't mind. 11 through 15.
Verse 11. You should not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of the Most High, thy power. I am the Most High. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night, until the morning. Thou shalt not curse.
Now notice what it says here. Neither shalt thou swear by my name falsely. And I see people swearing all the time and think it's okay. You grow up, you have people, I swear to God. Now, you ain't supposed to do that. All day long. I swear and I swear. And we're not supposed to do that. If somebody don't believe you, then let them not believe you. Why bring the Most High into it? Right? And it says, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. That means you can't have someone working like these long hours knowing you're paying them pennies. Or agree to a wage and say, well, yeah, I'm going to need you to stay for another 4 or 5 hours. That's how this system puts us in captivity. And I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, one thing that's way more important, and it breaks the spirit of capitalism. What's more important than money? First of all, the Most High. But time. Time is more important than money. Because you can always get money, but you cannot get back the time. So this goes into wages. Somebody giving you $30 or whatever the currency is in any particular country to work 8-9 hours, to work 12 hours. Not to say not to do so, but during this time, your break time, you need to be thinking how I can do less so that I can do more for the Most High, instead of working for these people and getting nothing. Right? Read.
Verse 14. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy power. I am the Most High. Ye should not do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. And
that's crystal clear. There's a judgment. Partiality shouldn't come towards someone because they don't have nothing. Like in our society, if you got enough money, you can buy a judge. The poor, you get a public defender. Okay. Okay, we're going 16 through 20. You do that? Go ahead.
Leviticus 19:16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor.
Well, let's examine that. It says, I am the Most High, right? It says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. These are people whose whole existence is to tell what's going on at any interval. You know that you can get the news from this person. This person is so used to giving news, they'll start making up stuff just to have something to tell. A talebearer is someone who just can't sit without spreading something and starting something. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Because what are they doing? They're talebearing to stir something up, but really, they're looking to stir up a frenzy that will eventually get the person destroyed or killed. To blood. Now notice, what these laws are some of the same things that was done towards our Lord and Savior, Yeshua. They started spreading things about him, claiming he was going against Moses and all that. It was talebearing, going back to the Pharisees and scribes. And they did it to blood. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. Let the Most High do the judgment when it comes. His judgment is fine. Instead of stirring something up to destroy a brother or sister. Then it goes back to, suppose that was you. No one mind talking or talebearing about another person. I mean, no one like it when it's done to them. But they will do it to others. How dare you say something about me? Well, this is what you do every day. Talebear. And see, our people kind of excuse it in this way. Well, we just need somebody to talk to. This is how we hide our talebearing. Sometimes we just need to, we just need to be able to express ourselves. No, you don't. You don't need to express yourself if it's talebearing on another person. This ain't you just talking to somebody about what you're going through. This is you talebearing and having other people in your conversation. Okay? And this is how spirits attack and continue to germinate. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbour, and not suffer sin upon him. Verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Go ahead.
But thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. I am the Most High.
That's crystal clear. Read.
Verse 19. You shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind.
That's crystal clear. You shall not let thy cattle engender with a diverse kind. You cannot be mixing species with your cattle. You see what they're doing with our cattle now? See, this is why they don't want you reading the Old Testament. Because you realize that our whole society is wrong. Read.
Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed.
You're not supposed to have GMO seeds. It's cross splicings of seeds. It's against the law. Go ahead.
Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee.
We're not supposed to be wearing clothes with mixed linen, where it's 50% this and 50% that. Now, I know a lot of us don't understand the ill effects it has on us, but it does. Everything we wear is a part of our being. And you might deal with ration and different things, and you never equate it to looking at the tag and seeing if something was mixed that gives you irritation, that messes with you. All laws were made so that we could live longer, so that our bodies, our skin, everything is pure and holy towards the Most High. It's to a point now, when we go to buy clothing or to purchase clothing today, I wish we could make our own, which we got a sewing machine now to do so. Move that from around that. No, I'm talking about the thing he's pulling. Move it from around that, yeah, there you go. It's to a point now, like I was mentioning, that when you go to purchase clothing, or when we go to purchase clothing, we look more so at the design. We very rarely look at the tag to see what's in the material. So if they've been killing us through GMOs, through cross-splicings of foods, don't you think they're doing something with our clothing too? That they haven't told you? So the more in depth you go into the law, it opens your eyes to everything. Like, what are these people doing? Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, betrothed to her husband, and not at all redeemed, nor freedom given her, she shall be scourged. They shall be put to death because she was not free.
That's crystal clear.
So they shall not.
It says they shall what?
They shall not.
Oh, they shall not be put to death, because she was not free.
They shall not be put to death because she was not free. Now that means he's chastised but not killed. Like, that's an example of someone that's engaged to someone else, or whatever the case is, and another man know that the woman is seeing somebody and come in and deal with the situation before they got a chance to consummate. And that's regular. That's almost a normal part of society now. They have this one thing now where they have a night where in some societies, especially in European societies, in which the woman or the man can't tell the person they married what they did for that night out. Whatever that was. That was their last night to do whatever.
Oh, staggered hen night.
Huh?
It's called a staggered hen night.
It's called staggered hen nights.
No, stag for guys and hen for women.
A stag night for
Guys.
And a hen night.
and a hen night for women. And whatever you do is not to be spoken once y'all come together. Something like that?
Yes, your last night of freedom.
Your last night of freedom. Total madness. I don't even want to imagine. Because one time I was up in Manchester, and I noticed one guy was running down the street, painted all green with a thong on, and I'm like, "What's this?" And they're like, "Oh, he's about to get married." Hey, listen, brother, I've never seen nothing like this. It's nothing I've never heard of. I mean, what's that? What's that about? Mark, what's that? I'm saying what, but you're the one closest to me. And what I'm trying to figure out is, what's that about? Can somebody explain that?
Usually on a stag night.
On a stag night.
Yeah, it's usually it's a theme. So if they all agree that they're going to paint each other green, they're all going to go out green together. You usually have like a same t-shirt on or something like that. Or
Yeah, sometimes it's extreme.
Yeah.
So it's not just the groom who's going to be all green with thongs on. He got buddies with him.
Sometimes it's what Ryan's saying, but other times, like say for example, they all agree to go out dressed like policemen or something, which is innocent or whatever. All the guys will still come together and do something. When the guy's getting married, when he's completely drunk and he's got no control over his body, then they'll do stuff to him, tie him up naked around a lamppost or whatever, and leave him.
So when he gets to the point of total inebriation,
he's gone.
Then the men that's with him in the wedding will do something with him. So that's why this guy was staggering around green with thongs.
The whole point of it is to do the worst he can do on that night, because he's never going to get a chance to do it again while he's married.
And now that's pretty deep, because I understand more and more. I used to wonder why is the Most High so exact in certain laws, which are really minute to a degree, but He knows the potential of man. He obviously can see that if He don't put this law here, somebody's going to take this empty space or this gray area and run around like y'all speaking. But the laws are crystal clear. So they call it stag night, where a man is just totally, he do everything that he need to do, whatever that is.
It's like, it's the one night where he lets his friends be in control of what's going on in the night. So that his friends will decide where he's going, so they'll make him get with a stripper, they'll make him go with they'll tie him up to a lamppost, they'll make sure.
So he don't decide his night. His friends will decide his whole night.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I think that's similar to, in America, they call it bachelor's night.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not to that degree. It's extreme in Europe. Okay. All right. Where do we leave off at? That's quite interesting. Go ahead.
We're at 21 now.
21 up and down.
Okay. So who is reading? Okay, can you go, who is reading now?
Josh.
Okay, thank you, Josh. 21 through 25, okay?
Verse 21. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Most High, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, even a ram for a trespass offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering before the Most High for his sin which he hath done. And the sin which he hath done shall be forgiven him. And when he shall come into the land, and shall have planted all manner of trees.
Now I want y'all to examine this real quick, because I don't want to pass this up. You notice how the ram offering is an offering for an atonement for a sacrifice. Y'all see that? And you notice when, during the time of Isaac in Genesis the 22nd chapter, when he was to be given up for sacrifice, before Abraham killed him, he tried to kill him and an angel stopped him from killing Isaac, Abram. And the Most High held his hand and he put a ram in substitute for Isaac to be sacrificed. Remember that? Genesis 22? And you notice it shows you a ram offering right here for an atonement for sin. So the ram became what? The scapegoat. The ram today is what? The Baphomet. So instead of the scapegoat getting sacrificed, the scapegoat now in Satan's society requires a sacrifice. You see how it's totally reversed? So if you, what they call in this world, deal with the Baphomet or ride the goat, someone must die. Instead of the ram dying, now the ram, which is Satan, is over the people. He required one of you to die. See that? But go ahead.
Verse 23. And when ye shall come into the land, and shall have planted all manner of trees for food. Then ye shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be as uncircumcised unto you. It shall not be eaten of. But in the 4th year all the fruit thereof shall be holy, to praise the Most High withal.
Now, I want you to examine that for a second. He says, 3 years, the fruit shall be uncircumcised to you. Right? Now, you know that's unheard of in this society. To sit there with fruit on your tree for 3 years and not touch it. To smell the fragrance of it. To see it ripe and then it falls to the ground or whatever the case and wither away. But what people don't know, we dealt with this in the law about 15 years ago. That by keeping the tree this way, in the 4th year, the fruit is unbelievable. It's to the point where you're not even eating the same type of fruit. It's so vibrant and good and healthy and strong because the tree had an opportunity to become stronger and bring forth in the 4th year better than all the years that preceded. It's like fine fruit. But we'll never get to that because there's no laws in place to allow the tree to grow. To let you know, all of the Most High's creation has an opportunity to mature if you allow it to. So we haven't eaten the best of fruit. And the best because we don't apply the laws of the Most High to growth. We're totally separated from the Most High's creation. There's also laws in which come to tilling the ground. There's a law that you till the ground for 6 years, and in the 7th year, which is the rest, you don't till the ground. You let the ground rest like a Sabbath. And then for the next 6 years, because you have respect for the ground, which is also the earth is a spirit, she will now bring forth even greater for the next 6 years. You see how our society have totally detached us from the Most High's creation. And it's all in the law. These are meticulous laws that were put in place for not only us. Don't forget, when Adam sinned and fell, all of creation was cursed. So these laws are put in place so that all creation can benefit, not just man and woman. Right? Go ahead. Where did you leave off, Josh?
Verse 25. And in the 5th year shall ye eat of the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you the increase thereof.
See that? Now you're getting the increase of that fruit.
I am the Most High, your power.
See that? It's a shame because in this society you'll never know how good something is. We've never dealt with the Most High creation at its height. But that's going to happen when we're in the wilderness. We will do this in the wilderness. It tells us in 2nd Baruch that one grape, if we follow these laws, one grape, you'll be able to make a gallon of wine with one grape. Now just imagine that. It'll take two men, 2 strong men, to carry 1 cluster of grapes. Now how amazing is that? Let's go to the next 5.
Verse 26.
26 through 30, if you don't mind.
You shall not eat anything with the blood.
You shall not eat anything with the blood. We are not supposed to eat rare food. Why? Why?
Parasite.
Oh yeah, I know you want that parasite thing right now. That's it. The soul is in the blood. The soul is in the blood. That means the living mechanism of that blood is still operating. And that leads us into the spirit of cannibalism, which is on a whole nother level based on what just happened with that naked guy eating someone's face. We're going to go into that in a moment. The government then let loose a zombie that they have created for their own purpose, and I'm going to talk about that later. And it's not just going to be him. When the food dry up and the drones continue to spray people with the agent they gave him in one of these mental institutions, if there's a lack of food, people is going to be eating people. What you're seeing with that one guy was a test rollout for the CIA.
Well, they showed you that in 28 days later, didn't they?
I didn't see 28 days later. Don't tell me about it. I gotta see it. I didn't see it. So they're just rolling out the test now. You notice this happened right on the cusp of what? Last month they were saying that they were testing certain agents to let loose in subways in different areas just to see the effect of it. In 2 separate states, 2 separate cities in America. And now on the cusp of that, we got one naked guy who's homeless. You know, they do all types of testing on these homeless people, who they let loose after giving them the agent they're going to spray on the people. Zombies, Nights of the Living Dead. They've been preparing people for this for a long time. And it goes into Revelations where it talks about a certain number of men dying because of all these things in this earth. They're going to dry up the food, take the food, and the next go into the spirit of cannibalism, where people are going to be eating people right out, just like that homeless guy. That was a test rollout. It wasn't by chance. Why? I said it earlier. Nothing gets promoted in the news without an agenda. If it wasn't something they could spin and use for their own turn, you would not have even heard about it. It would have been a little page on a paper someplace. But you're not supposed to deal with eat the blood. Why? Because soul or the life is in the blood. And they got Red Cross and all of them set up for this particular purpose. They can tell so much about each person just by looking at the blood. Just like the woman who cleaned parasites, like you were mentioning, Josh. We have a meeting with her soon, and she's going to do an interview and talk about how they have targeted the minorities all over the earth, knowing who we are. It was in the blood. She says she's able to see what's wrong with the body because the blood knows when it's being looked at. When a light is shined on it, it actually communicates. So she says it's easier for her to find out what's going on. And she gave me some examples. She says automatically if something is wrong in your body and light shines on it, the same way if you had to talk to a person and tell them what's wrong, the blood is screaming out for help. So if something is wrong in the body, that's attacking the body immediately. And if it's a intestine problem, then the blood will shape itself like a colon. And the person will look at it and say, okay, the problem is in the colon. If it's a heart, the blood will shape itself like a heart. If it's the lungs, the blood will shape itself like a lung. She said she worked at Merck for years, and they knew this a long time ago. That they put light on it, and immediately they look at blood in darkness, infrared in darkness with no light, and then they would shine a regular light on it and see that the blood start materializing. And they knew that the blood had life.
So from every sickness, they can actually see every sickness through your blood. So in effect what they're doing, say if you've got parasites for instance, so
yes.
you're more susceptible to these things, we all are, then really what they're doing in effect is draining our spirit.
Exactly.
They're draining us, they're shutting us down.
Exactly. Now the test that she was doing, and we're going to go over that in the interview, it's different than the test that they allow regular laboratories like doctor offices within our neighborhoods to have. There's certain cultures that regular doctor's offices will never understand, because they're not used to looking at the blood as an actual spiritual organism. But the people at Merck, the high people up at Merck, knew this.
We've got to film or something.
Huh? The Thing. Exactly. They throw it all in their movies. They throw it in their movies. Exactly. So the Most High is telling us, listen, when it comes to eating food, don't have the blood in it. The spirit of that animal, whatever that is still in the food. So what happens when you eat that blood? It becomes part of your makeup. You start taking on the spirit of that particular creature.
So we should really drain the blood, shouldn't we?
The blood is supposed to be drained. And another thing, if you want to eat meat, you're supposed to burn it till you see black. You're supposed to burn it where there's no blood left in it at all.
Let me ask a quick question then, yeah, because I understand what you're saying and it makes sense, because if a man dies, yeah, his blood dies,
Exactly.
so energy in his blood,
Exactly.
heat, which keeps man alive, and he can't exist without light, and light is the soul of man, that goes. Yeah?
Exactly.
But is your blood still classed as your spirit then, or would you literally, because it's a dead creature and
Yeah, but the blood is still living. After you pass, the blood is still living for a time. And then it dries up.
Is that why you can be rewarded?
Remember when Cain killed Abel? And the Most High says, well, where's your brother Abel? His blood crieth out to me.
Yeah, true.
Abel was already dead. You understand? But the blood still had some life, communicating.
There is a doctor,
Right?
there's a doctor called Dr. Beck, he's passed away now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of you probably heard about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Research into blood. He coined the phrase immortal blood, which means that if you clean the blood to such a degree, and it's an excellent quality blood, it will live alive days upon days upon days.
Yeah.
On a microscope.
That's the key. You have to realize blood has the living organism of the spirit within it. Go to 1 John 5 and 7 real quick. Let me show you something. So these eugenicists, those who are attacking and destroying us, they started targeting our strengths. Red Cross is an illuminist. You know Red Cross really translates to Rothschild? Red Shield. They're really the Rothschilds getting a database of all the blood all over the earth before they let loose the bioweapons against us. It's a blood bank. And also on top of that, they believe they're vampires. They take a lot of this blood and they have parties and be drinking this blood and all that. On the top of these buildings, I mean, it's wild if we really understood who these people were who are ruling, so-called ruling over society. Go ahead.
1 John chapter 5, verse 7.
Go ahead.
For there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Spirit. And these three are one.
These three are one. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, inseparable. Read.
Verse 8. And there are three that bear witness in earth.
There are three that bear witness in earth.
The Spirit.
The Spirit.
And the water.
And the water.
And the blood.
And the blood. And those are the three things that the eugenicists and the powers are targeting to destroy us. They're destroying our water, fluoride and all those things, putting PPA in our water, our spirit, trying to identify the God gene within our spirit, and they're giving flu vaccines to destroy that within our minds so that we can be desensitized and turn to rogue animals. And the blood. These are what they're targeting to tear us down. It's all in the Bible. If you can read it and see it, it's all in the Bible. And And see, she's rogue. I mean, she worked at Merck for years, and she said, recall, she said, she said, this is the tip of the iceberg. She said, there's things that you would never guess of how the blood communicates. She said, it blew me away when I was at Merck, and we all understood this and couldn't say anything. And that's why they started setting up immune diseases through Merck and through Bayer in these different countries to actually destroy our people in third world countries. They say these people are too strong, and if they understand how to keep their blood clean and keep themselves clean, they would live forever. They would live long. So we need to target the healing processes of their bodies. So we have to come up with something that attacks their immune system. They have a defense mechanism different than any other people on earth. They just won't die. We have to give them immune deficiencies and attack their blood. That's how they came up with AIDS and HIV. There wasn't no disease, it just popped up through sex. It was made in a laboratory. Targeted after they studied our blood for a long period of time. That's what they came up with. And now our bodies, because our bodies are strong, we have now overcame that. So you don't hear no AIDS stuff and all that going out no more. And the HIV is a straight lie. HIV don't cause AIDS. That's another lie. So now, there's a new report. I'm going to go into that later. The new report is that now they're going to let mosquitoes loose. And they claiming the new pandemic or the new Al-Qaeda will be these mosquitoes that cause HIV and AIDS. And that's in regular reporting now. Now, it's not these things are so compartmentalized, a lot of us can't put these things together. Remember about 2 years ago, Bill Gates stood up and said that, well, we're working on some mosquitoes who can now administer vaccines, so that if you deny vaccines or a few countries don't got vaccines, they can get their share of vaccines. This is what he was talking about. Now that we've awakened to the eugenics program, the HIV and all that garbage they're pushing, what they're doing now, let's let the bugs loose on it. Right? I didn't mean to go there. Let's go back into this real quick, because there's a few things I wanted to deal with.
Leviticus 19 and 26.
You in 19 and 26, Leviticus? Go ahead.
You shall not eat anything with the blood.
You cannot eat anything with the blood.
Neither shall you use enchantment.
You cannot use enchantment. That means going to get someone, to get something, a bad root against somebody, or to do a curse against someone, or use magic. Read.
Nor observe times.
Nor observe times. And that goes into your a little bit of necromancy, but above all, when it comes to astrology on this level.
It says here in this Bible, in the Hebrew, observe is that is as lucky or unlucky.
Huh? Exactly.
So when it says that looks.
Exactly. You're actually doing things according to, like for instance, you will pattern yourself after an astrology. Like you read a horoscope about your attributes, and now you're living that. You're operating under that. So your times and everything you're dealing with is linking to these necromancers and these astrologers and all those things there. The palm readers, which is another observant of time. Well, this is what's going to happen to you. I see this in your future. Things of that nature. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 27. You shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Most High your power.
Now again, I wanted to go into this because most people say, well, is this haircuts? No, this is talking about actually doing things unto the gods. Like you seen with In Apocalypto, how they cut themselves and cut their hair to certain gods and all that, and have these little cuttings in their hair and all that. That's what it's speaking of. Looking like a god. Okay? And it says, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh, that's like brandings, for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Some people do things to commemorate a loved one who's passed. They may mark that on their body. You can't do that. You cannot print anything on your body. That's tattoos. That's printing on the body. That's crystal clear. All right? Read.
Verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter, to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
That means taking a woman and setting her up as a prostitute. You can't do that. And that's normal in society, especially if you're in the neighborhoods, in the hood, the ghettos. They germinate. Matter of fact, they kind of sensationalize that behavior. There's no way you should have a pimp ball on HBO, on TV, where guys are talking about, they having a pimp ball and all that, giving out awards to the best pimp of the year. This happens in the United States. Snoop Dogg is there, and all these other guys there. What's the other rapper name? The Ice-T's there. They sensationalize what the Bible says is unlawful. And the women relish in it too. They give an award for the one that made more money out of all the women who was prostituted. She goes up and she gets her trophy. So y'all keeping record of this. Right? Read.
Verse 30. Ye shall keep my Sabbath.
And the Most High said it again. Why? Because the Sabbath is a continual reminder of the Most High. Read.
And reverence my sanctuary. I am the Most High.
Oh, okay. Who's next here? Go ahead, Azel. You here? Come on. 31 through 35. Come on.
Leviticus 19 and 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Most High your power.
Regard not them that have familiar spirits. These are they who are connecting with the dead, or feel that like some type of energy is working in them. Neither seek after wizards. These are male witches. To be defiled by them, I am the Lord thy God. Read.
Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head, and honor the face of the man, and fear
of the old man,
and fear thy power. I am the Most High.
They're saying that automatically, if you see someone of age, they get respect. That's what that means. Automatically. If they've lived a long life, believe me, they have wisdom. Something have happened where their wisdom have allowed them to live a long life. The Most High says, when you see this, give it honor and respect. And that also falls into the honor of the mother and father. When it comes to even those that are hoary or old, you got to honor them like mother and father too. Read.
And if a stranger should sojourn with thee in the land, ye shall not vex him.
That means if the children of Israel is living among Gentile or people who are not born of Israel, we shall not antagonize them or vex them or make them feel less than us. We have to treat them as equals, as brothers. Go ahead.
But the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you.
That's crystal clear. Now I wonder what Israelites going to say about that. What are they going to say about that? You got to treat them just like your own brother. Now, and I would never understand spewing hate towards others, and your biggest complaint is that someone hated you and someone did something against you. Your biggest complaint is all the things that have happened to us, but yet you can hate other people. Read.
And thou shalt love them as thyself. For ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Most High, your power.
We were strangers in the land of Egypt, and the Most High allowed those people to have compassion on us. Think about that. We became a nation. Only 70 souls went into Egypt, and the Most High put a spirit on the king to love Joseph, to take care of us, to carve out a place so that we can become a great nation. So we can't do that for others? Read 35, please.
Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, and
meet yard,
in weight or in measure.
That's cheating with finances. Go ahead.
Just balances, just weights, and just ephah. And
just hand.
And just hand shall ye have. I am the Most High, your power, which brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Read it all the way. We only got one more. Go ahead.
Therefore shall ye observe all my statutes and all my judgments, and do them. I am Most High.
Exactly. Now the example of this is, there should be, if you compare it to this system, there should not be any type of system set up in which it's supply and demand, where the price is set on the demand. Why? Because you can control the demand. You can make artificial scarcity, which makes everyone believe that there's a little bit of something, just so that the price can go up on it. That's artificial scarcity. So you can cheat in that system. In supply and demand, if there's a small number of something, automatically the price will go up. Well, if I'm living in a capitalistic society and I'm over a product, I'm going to make everyone believe that there's only a little bit of it, so that I can make more from my product. But the Most High says a just weight for a just measure, which means there should be one price on things and it should be sold to everyone equally. Period. That's righteous. We weren't made for creation. Creation was made for us. We shouldn't suffer to eat. So the Most High said it's just weight for just measure. Right, here's an example that I can give based on this scripture. Just say if strawberries grow as current as bananas, right? They grow just as frequent as bananas. Then there shouldn't be that difference of a price. They're always there. Fruit is fruit. You sell them according to a certain weight, and that weight is sold the same all around the earth. Not just based on whether or not the food is in your area or whatever the case is, and whether or not it's been imported. It doesn't matter. It should be the same all around the earth. Everything. It should be one price for everything. And it cannot be a price in which we can't afford, because the food is growing for us. You understand? It's growing so that we can be nourished and live a long life. Y'all got it? Okay. So it's one thing reading the law. It's another thing going into the law. All right? Last but not least, the law on earrings. How was that instituted? How was it when we left Egypt, we broke off our earrings and our jewelry and we made the idol, which was also showing us what? The idol was there the whole time. It just wasn't melted down and put together yet. You notice how jewelry and certain jewelries and certain things that cost a lot of money we call precious. and we value jewelry over people? Do y'all notice that? You don't care what happened to your neighbor or someone down the street, but you want to protect your ring you have in a safe. So somewhere there's an unbalance there, right? So let's just give the origin of earrings. How did that come to pass? Let's go to Exodus 21 real quick. Exodus 21. All right. Let's start at the first verse.
Exodus chapter 21, verse 1.
Anyone didn't read yet? Okay, Sandy, you start with 21, verse 1. Go ahead.
Verse 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. Verse 2.
Go ahead, verse 2.
If thou buy a Hebrew servant,
If you buy a Hebrew servant, read.
6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
So if one was to purchase a Hebrew servant, 6 years they work, and the 7th year, which is the year of Jubilee, they must go out free. Which means, usually when you purchase a Hebrew servant, it's because this servant is in debt. So this servant must work off their debt, not forever. You understand? Not forever. So they work the 6 years. During the 6 years, health, food, shelter, and raiment is provided while they're working off their debt. And they're looking forward to being released in the 7th year and gain some substance during that 6 years so that they can have a life on their own free from that debt. And you notice our society has systematically put everyone in debt from birth. From birth, you are in debt. And your whole life, you incur and build debt on purpose. Why? Therefore, it circumvents this law. You are a servant from the time you're born to the time you die, based on your debt. If you owe, you're never free. You are indebted to someone. And that's why Christ said in the prayer, forgive our debts. Forgive debts as we forgive our debtors. Christ came that we should be free, not serve a system. They wanted him dead. He was pointing out the evil of putting one under perpetual debt. We were meant to be free. We were not meant to serve someone all the days of our lives and then our next generation serve them for all the rest of their lives. That's against the law of the Most High. How are they imploding the whole earth today and putting the whole earth under the one world power? To create this creation of debt. Oh, you owe us this based on the interest, which is usury, which is also against the law. So since you owe us something that you'll never be able to pay, I'll take that. I'll take that land there. I'll take all those houses there. I'll take that island over there. This is how they're taking everything. See that?
You know, you said it's usually when you're in debt. What would the other circumstance be like? Would it just be like a job? Because that's how I envisioned it. Like,
well, if someone is a servant, he agrees. You understand? Because usually, if you are given your services to this person in particular, this person has some wealth that can help you out after you're free.
So it's like a job.
It's like a job today. So what they've done is they've turned employment into a systematic servitude and made it as if you're not even thinking that you're going to be a slave, but that's what you are. You are a human resource. That's a servant.
So at the end of that 7 years, he might have enough money to chill and buy his own little house somewhere, like retire or something.
Yeah. After 7 years.
I was doing it to 7
Yeah. Yeah. And usually there was a law So if you are working with this person and they love you as you become part of the family almost. So when you go out that 7 years, they're going to make sure you're okay. You done developed yourself. You done established yourself. And now you can start building for yourself. And if somebody else is down on what's going on with them, like, okay, I can pull you up and you can work in my house for 6 years and we're going to build you up in which you can build your own too.
Is that what was meant to happen to us when we felt on the surface serve our enemies for 7 years, really?
Under the law, we were only supposed to serve for a 6-year period and be released the 7th year. Under the law. Even in Europe, and that just didn't apply to Israel, other nations, even Europe had a law of what you would call indentured servitude, in which you would agree to work for a certain time, but you were taken care of. You provided a service that in turn allowed them to grow even greater. Now just think about this. How big are these corporations now that they were able to get almost 200 years of slavery for absolutely nothing from over 1 million people and over many generations? That's how the corporations become so powerful. It started off with having a servant serve systematically from generation to generation. This is how corporations began. I mean, think about what you could do if you have just one person living in your house and which can actually do whatever you want him to do for 7 years, 6 years, you don't have to pay him nothing. How much can you make strictly off of that? Now think about that and say, suppose it's a whole nation, a whole people, millions of people. I can get to work for nothing for about 100 years. And everything they produce, I can sell in the open market, stock market, which I control. Just giving you, I'm just trying to bring this in a way that you all can understand the world we're in and how it's entirely separate from the laws of the Most High. Every man was born to be free.
Is that another reason why the other nations are now catching it now? Is what they did.
Yeah. Now all the nations, because they didn't show us any mercy. It tells us that in Joel the 3rd chapter. Because they did these things to us knowingly. It wasn't in ignorance. They knew exactly who we were. Now the Most High is turning the hell on all of them. Now they're indebted to the world powers while we're being set free. You understand? You can't do too much to us anymore. We're used to it. We're being set free now. Now your country is about to be taken. Your wealth is about to be taken. The same people whom you was in bed with, who you agreed to take down the children of Israel with, are now going after you while we're being released. Right? Where are you? Where are you? Okay, we're in Leviticus. Exodus 21 and 2, right? Go ahead.
Exodus 21 and 3. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. Verse 4. If his master has given a wife, and she had born him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself.
So here's the deal. If you didn't got a relationship and children in that, everything that happened under that with the children is still under the master now. So he got a choice. Now, you know, I don't want to lose my family right here. Read.
Verse 5. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master.
So if he say, listen, this guy is the best guy I've ever been around. He take care of me, he look out for me, and I don't want to leave this guy. Read.
My wife and my children, I will not go out free.
I will not go out free. I decide to stay with him. To let you know this wasn't no hard bondage here. This was a friendship. Okay, the master had laws, the master of the house. of righteousness. Read.
Next one.
Go ahead.
Then his master shall bring him unto the judges.
So if he agreed that he just want to stay, now you have to have witnesses to decree this, because everyone is looking at the fact that the 7th year, this guy is supposed to be released. So now he have to go to the judges and say what?
He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with
And all.
With the awl.
He put a hole in his ear, read.
And he shall serve him forever.
That was the significance of the piercing of the ear and putting that ring in. So that everyone will know that he's with this servant as a sign forever. He's stuck to that house. So that was a signet of perpetual servitude to one house. This is how other people knew that, okay, that family is not attached to the law of Jubilee. They're not let free. They have volunteered themselves to stay with one house. That was the sign of the awling, or the piercing of the ear. And you would have a ring in your ear. Now, in servitude in America, it came on the other side, where they had branding for your master, and they were putting awl through your ear and through your nose at some point, and put a small chain to it. And they would hold you. Sometimes they would take the rope and hold it there where you have to stay there, and if you pull, you would actually rip your ear or rip your nose apart. So America and the Western world started taking this on the next level, but it was still a sign of what? Servitude. So now they made it fashion. Oh yeah, I'm a slave. Look, these earrings are nice. And the women, look, listen, child, you seen those earrings? And everyone is celebrating and not knowing that it's actually an agreement of servitude. And isn't it amazing how everything have been turned backwards? And then you see these football players, I'm going to let you in. You see these football players, they doubling it. They sit there with 2 big rocks up in their ear. It's incredible. And they don't know, no sooner as they join these sports, the powers who control their money get together with all their elite buddies and rob these athletes blind. They get introduced to quote unquote investors, and they're all in bed together to rob these athletes. You are a servitude. Yeah, I got the best jewelry. I know somebody who can do your jewelry. Oh, I know somebody who can do your nails, and they all in bed together. And these athletes, they all with the big chains, big earrings, straight slaves. And these investors and the powers who are using them are laughing them to scorn. What you were saying there?
I was going to say that's, so is that why it says in Ezekiel 16:12, the Most High will put earrings in our ear as a sign that we serving Him?
Let's get it. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 10. I clothed thee also with broidered work, and shod thee with badger skin, and I girded thee about with fine linen, and I covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thy hands, and a chain upon thy neck. I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thine head. Thou wast decked with gold and silver, and thy raiment was fine linen and silk and broidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour and honey and oil, and thou wast exceeding beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom.
Read.
Verse 14. And thy renown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I have put upon thee, saith the Most High Ahia.
So when it goes down, it tell you that we lost it all. But yes, that was actually talking about us serving the Most High instead of man. You are correct. But that was the example that you would go before the judges, get your ear bored, and that was a sign that everyone knew in the Old Testament. That was a sign. Others knew that you were released from the Jubilee agreement. Okay, they would know that you made an agreement to stay with that master, with the boring of the ear, or the awl that was stuck through the ear. Okay? All right, what time is it here? Okay. One moment here. One other thing I wanted to go over.